Hello everyone, and welcome to Mel's Musings. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the idea of how habits will either make or break your life. Now, one of the most common things immediately right away that I've seen as a shortcoming, not only in my own life, but also the lives of almost everyone else around me, is this sort of concept that to do something, you have to be willing to put a serious level of dedication and time into it to even begin or to advance in some kind of meaningful way. This is one of the worst, I think, mistakes you can actually make for yourself. And I think even my channel is a perfect example of that. We've been very successful recently in the videos we've been uploading and the shorts. And all of this is done, before the money that I've been putting in comes to fruition, or even a lot of my super concentrated time and effort, juggling a full-time job that has an abusive work schedule alongside my content creation and all the things that need to be done offline, basically making it a second full-time job for me. You don't really have much time to, put into the studying and the work on skills that you must do to become a more successful, more articulate, and just better creator in each way, shape, and form that it comes. But even so, I've improved so much now. Is that possible to be unrecognizable from even the person I was like 1 year ago, or especially 2 years ago? Well, the thing is that everything you want to work on and advance in your life comes down to habits, okay? So if you are not cultivating, well, you're always cultivating. Here's the first thing, is that you're always cultivating habits. Every action you do is contributing towards a habit in some way or another. Now, they can be broken. Obviously, habits can be broken. Habits can be changed and reshaped infinitely and modified. But the common thread is that whenever you are choosing to do something, or even choosing to not do something, you're making a habit out of that. And so if we are going to harness that, we're going to think about what that really means, okay? If everything we're doing is contributing or detracting from habits, then that means that all of the action that occurs in our lives is based on habit. Anything that is progressive and meaningful. You think about schooling, you think about job careers, where you put this in persistent dedication in. And of course, we mistakenly think that means, it takes us like 8 hours a day or like 4 hours a day, however many hours of concentrated learning to get good at it. But that's just a extremely inefficient structure that we've inherited. Obviously, I'm sure you've worked many days where you're like, what the heck am I doing in this store, or even in this class? I don't need to be here for this right now. It's just like that with the things that we do. When you work on something that you want, it really does not take almost any time at all in a day for you to start and for you to pick up a little piece that you can improve on, especially in this age of the internet and information tutorials, the most incredible art, tools, knowledge, technology, all at our fingertips now. We have more ways than ever to appropriate the things that we want to do for ourselves and start taking meaningful steps for that would be very difficult to impossible for, people of even just like 10, 15, 20 years ago. So let's talk about that. But, you don't even really need that for this. The important thing is just that you are doing it daily, as the thumbnail suggests. Even if you put in 5 minutes daily, even if you're not doing the thing, I'll give you a perfect example in my instrument. The absolute ideal is that I can play. Now, my work schedule is very tough and restricts that a lot. Makes it very hard to play some days. And there's some days that I do kind of fall behind on that. But it's not like my musicality is not restricted. Because what can I do? I can listen on my commute to the type of music that I'm hoping to play, the artists that inspire me, paying attention to and contemplating their ideas and what they mean and how they affect me. And, through this process, kind of absorbing that into my playing, it will make me a better player just to do that in that, 20-minute drive that I do. But really, most of these days that I don't get to play, it's like some kind of lack of discipline, or because I'm really exhausted and tired. I don't get up in time, for example, on like a closed day, or maybe I'm really tired after an open day because they often close openly. The thing is that it's just a weakness of the will that I'm not just taking out that instrument for even just 5 minutes and giving that a real 5 minutes concentrated, dedicated practicing time. If I'm doing that work with intention for those entire 5 minutes uninterrupted, then I'll make more progress than someone who practiced for 50 minutes or even 30 minutes, but only had 5 minutes of dedicated time. Once you start, you can worry about the process after, but if you haven't started it, then you have no idea, or if you've started it wrongly before, then you have no idea what that healthy process is actually like. It's something you need to figure out within your own life context and within what you can do. But it is something that, you can do, and it's a lot easier than you think. A lot of people tell me, like, I need my 30 minutes a day to practice, or else what's the point? I'm just not even going to get better. But I think I've done maybe one 20-minute session since I started playing again. Every other time it was 5 to 15 tops, more close to the 5 to 10 end, between those shifts or between live streams, which you can check out on Melcy Wrath on Twitch. And I've seen incredible improvements from that absolute ground zero that I was on. Sure, is it not as good as someone who's been playing like 8 hours a day? Sure, no. But, how do I know if I had that much time, or I gave that much time to myself, that I wouldn't burn out? That even if I was playing the entire time, not like scrolling on my phone like I probably would be for a lot of it, that I would be practicing things that really matter. When you restrict your time, you're going to pare down the non-essentials and think about, okay, if I can only do one thing in this thing that I want to do, how can I do that in such a way that it's going to benefit me? That I'm not wasting those 5 minutes. Because anyone can give like 5 to 15 for at least one thing in a day. There's no way that you cannot. That is 100% possible. And that is legitimately all the time you need, because if you do it every day, you cultivate a habit of doing it. All of a sudden, that time across days is going to build. It's going to build on itself. The 5 minutes of yesterday, the 5 minutes of tomorrow, the 5 minutes 3 weeks from now. And once you do this, you'll start realizing, maybe you'll start to figure out that routine that we talked about. Like, you'll figure out what does work for you. Maybe I'm so busy that I can only fit that small block. That's okay. I'm still getting better. I'm still meaningfully improving, and I'm getting to where I want to be with this like thing that I want to do, no matter what it is, recreation, hobby, art, whatever. But what often is true, though, is once you've truly internalized through repetition that, wait, this is just a part of my calendar now. Because that's the hardest thing, is for something to break into your calendar of time. Everything is your job, your phone, your social media platforms, even your friends unintentionally, to an extent, condition you into thinking that time is a precious resource you're always out of. It's intentional, and it's a mechanic that drags us down, wears us down, makes us more tired, makes it harder for us to do these things, and mentally blocks us from believing that they're even on the table. What you will find is that if you can just take those 5 minutes over and over and over again and break that into the calendar all of a sudden a whole world opens up to you that you realize, oh my gosh, why wasn't I doing this sooner? You can do it, and often it becomes easy. You do the 5 minutes and you're not left feeling satisfied. Now you can easily push it. Oh, now I got some time today. I'm already here. Starting is the hardest part. I'm already here. I've already started. Let me do another 5 minutes. Let me do maybe 15 more minutes. Maybe it ends up being a 20-minute or even a 30-minute session like you thought you needed at first. That door is now available to you because you took the action that starts, that process. You took the action that says, I can do this. In the easiest way. You don't overcomplicate it for yourself. You don't make it too hard on yourself. You don't set a standard that nobody, when they were starting, could at all reasonably expect to achieve. You just work with that simple 5 minutes. Do it over and over. And some days you can do more. Some days you can do less. Some days you are going to stumble. It takes a lot of discipline. It's very hard when you're so worn down from your life to keep that up every day. But it's once you have the habit, that thing you missed was just an incident that you can look back on and be like, oh, that was unfortunate. But I've done like 20 or more days at this point. So I'm just going to go to the next one. Go to the next one and I'm going to do it. And you do it. And before you know it, you'll have a routine that was the one you envisioned you needed to start. Because you built it organically out of the resources and time that was available to you. You slowly carved it out. And then you learned to make it your own. And from there, just like it ties into the 2 other videos I made. Adaptability is everything, and stop making excuses. And that if you for real just start and you give yourself that absolute minimum every day, you do the absolute minimum to improve, because I promise you it is so much less time required than you think it is. My audio engineering is really bad, but I know so much more than anyone who has not learned a thing about it. And I don't think I've given it more than like 4 or 5 hours of my time total in over an entire year. You don't really believe that if you give something all your attention, we're in an age right now where it's so hard for something to get your undivided attention for any amount of time, that we don't believe, we mistake that inefficiency as like, this is just how much time it takes to do something. Instead of understanding that if we just allocate the necessary time, we're going to make leaps and bounds over time that we always dreamed of, but which always seemed so far out of reach. So, but leave it in the comments. What's that habit that you wanted to have? What's that good habit you wanted to start? Here's the other thing, is that if you want to get rid of bad habits, the only way to do that is to start replacing them with good ones. Crowbar these good things into your life in little pieces at a time. And when you find out that they're more desirable, more enjoyable, leave you happier, more fulfilled than the vices that are destroying your life, those bad habits, all of a sudden they're not going to seem as appealing. And the good habit time is going to push out the bad habit time. Otherwise, you're going to be in a consistent, tell me if this sounds familiar, you're going to be in a consistent cycle where it's like, oh, I can't believe I did it again. Dang it. You get sad about it. That depresses you into wanting to go to your vice. So you go back to your vice. Oh, I did it again, man. What's wrong with me? And the cycle perpetuates itself. So replace the bad with the positive. Tell me in the comments what your habit is that you want. What's maybe a bad one that you have that you'd like to change? What's the bad one, or what's the good one that you want, but you've never really took that step to? I can tell you, saxophone was mine. I literally did not play for years for this exact reason. Oh, if my life gets less busy, if I get more time, then it's going to be something to do. It never comes. That day never comes, because we always will plug something in to fill out that schedule. So you have to make the intent, the intentional plugging in of that habit, if you want it to really be one, or it's just never going to come to be. And then soon, hey, maybe you'll be playing some beautiful melodic saxophone notes like mine. But I'm not good at saxophone right now. But one day, hey, one day, and it's because we do it every day, as close to every day as